Hey there. I hope this is gonna work okay. Haven't done a live stream before, so just making sure everything's put together. Started a little early. I didn't realize that I put 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, but we are observing daylight savings in many places, and since I'm in Arizona, we don't observe daylight savings time. So for me, 9 o'clock is 9 o'clock, and for everybody else, it's 10 o'clock or later. Is everybody doing okay? $5.28 in Bavaria. Yes. What is that? 9 hours, 9-hour difference to Germany. I think the rest of the country needs to get rid of daylight savings time, make it a lot easier for everybody. Since we don't change times, then everybody else changes times around us. Hello, Heike. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. I might be a little early for some, might be a little late for others. Excited to get going. I also had a list of questions that some people have sent me. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can throw them up in the chat and I'll get to them as well. All right, England. So the EU is supposed to be getting rid of daylight savings time. They've tossed around the idea here a number of times, more than once, and it just doesn't make any sense to have daylight saving. You're not gaining any hours. You're not, it was back, I believe, when they first started the work week, trying to get farmers and that to be able, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Edinburgh, Scotland. All right. I really want to go to Scotland. I don't know if you saw my video on Scotland, but I have ancestry from Scotland. I'm not sure where. We are part of the Wardlaw clan. So my mom and grandma got to go back and visit relatives. So I have a lot of blood relatives, ancestor in Scotland. That's one of the places real high up on my list to visit. 4:30 in England. I went to England. It was actually on our way to Germany one year, and I had a choice of a layover, either 6 hours in Detroit or 6 hours in London. And I thought, I'm not spending 6 hours in Detroit, that's for sure. So we went to London, spent 6 hours in London. So we got off the plane, walked out of the airport, hopped on a train, went down. We got to see the palace. They were actually in the middle or just beginning the change of guard. So we got to witness that. That was pretty cool. Colder than crazy. It was winter time, so pretty cold. And then it was kind of funny. that we got back on the train to go back to the airport, and the guy checking everybody's tickets kind of looked at us a little funny and you guys have the wrong tickets. I thought, well, I don't know how we got here with the wrong tickets. He said, I don't either, so you can go back. I'm like, all right, thanks. Don't want to miss our plane. All right. I will take you up on those few beers when we get there. I'll let you know. I can't wait. We also have a lot of family in Ireland. My dad has a lot of family from over there, so that's another area we'd like to visit. If any of you have any questions now, I could start answering some of these, but I'd like to wait, a little bit until see if more people get in and start doing that. I can tell you that I can't wait until we can get out of here. We have just over a month before we go to Germany, and I am counting the days because the weather here is starting to get hot. I guess that's one downfall from moving to the desert. It gets hot, and I am not looking forward to triple digits for the next 3 to 4 months. But Germany will be nice. It'll be a nice break. I'm a little jealous that my wife is going to be there for a full month, and our boys and I are only going to be there for 2 weeks. I couldn't afford to take a whole month off, and since she's a teacher, she has the summer off, so she'll be able to go take care of her family for a while. All right. If I find myself in Bavaria, huh? I don't know if I could do 6 German beers anymore. That'd be rough. I don't even think I could do 6 American beers. Actually, I had 4 the other night, and I felt pretty good. Just not the way. Can't drink the way I used to. Double digit times. That would be nice too. I'm from Wyoming originally, north central Wyoming, so it gets downright frigid in Wyoming, and they just recently had more snow, and that's why we don't live there anymore. I was sick and tired of single digits, negative temperatures, clouds, miserable, cold, shoveling snow. So I think we just moved to the exact polar opposite of that, and no snow and triple digits. Oh boy, you're really gonna test my German, aren't you? All right. I'm going to see if I can understand you here. The island of Rügen. I have not. Did I say that right? Rügen? I haven't been to any islands around Germany. The closest we've gotten, I guess, is Bremerhaven. We had to pick up a car that I had bought while I was in the military up there in the port. So we took a train up there, but that's the closest I've been to any islands in Germany. But when we go to Germany, we will be visiting a small town, maybe 30 minutes from Kaiserslautern. My wife is from a little town just on the other side of a hill from Landstuhl. So if you know the Landstuhl Military Hospital, basically, I mean, it's literally walking distance, just on the other side of the hill from there. Oberauenbach is the town of, or the name of her town, her hometown. Really small, but Kaiserslautern is the biggest city near there. Oh, when? Sorry, it says you win. June 1st, second week of June, I'll be there for 2 weeks, and my wife will be there for a month. So we fly out of here on the 6th, I believe, and luckily we got a non-stop flight from Phoenix to Frankfurt. And a lot of times we try and actually fly into into Luxembourg, because that's closer, a shorter drive to her hometown, and sometimes it's cheaper flying into Luxembourg, but this time it wasn't, and we got a non-stop from Phoenix to Frankfurt, so that's what we'll be flying into. Guten Morgen, Senor Esteban. Yes, a nice beer after a long day is something to be had. We actually we have a local brewery, I guess, here that all they do is mead. So we like to go get a lot of mead. It's quite expensive. It can cost about $25 for a bottle. So we only pick up a couple bottles, but we try and get something different every time. And that's really, really nice. We really love mead. But a good beer, although I'm not one for American beer at all anymore, just don't have the taste for it, so we try and get the micro brews here, which is pretty nice. The name of the meadery is Scale and Feather Meadery. Real small place. They brew it right in the back. It's kind of decorated like a Dungeons and Dragons, like role-playing medieval stuff. So a lot of their meads are named after D&D things. It's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. Yeah, my top viewed video has quite a few views. I hit a few nerves with that one. And to be honest, the viewers are from a lot of different places. Most of my viewers actually are from Europe. England, Germany, I think, are the two top. The United States is third, I think, with viewers. So, and for the most part, I got a lot of positive feedback from that one. Obviously, you're going to have those people that disagree and refuse to see the other side, so they're going to leave nasty comments. And I've changed my mind on allowing every comment to come through. I used to just go through and approve all of the ones that came through that were held for review, and because I didn't want anybody's voice to not be heard, but some of those were downright nasty, and so I don't want that on my channel. I'm more of a positive minded person, so I don't need that stuff in the comments. So I am reviewing most of them now and allowing most of them to come through, just because, like I said, I want everybody's voice to be heard. And if it can be constructive and if we can all learn from it, then that's what we're here for. What kind of hobbies do I have? Tinkering with old bikes or bar binge. Don't bar binge anymore. Tinkering with old bikes, no, not so much. I have a motorcycle that I don't tinker with it so much as I like to ride it. But two of my biggest hobbies are woodworking and photography. I actually got into woodworking because of photography, but I haven't, unfortunately, messed with either too much lately. I need to get back into it again. It really helped calm the nerves, calm the anxiety. But those are the biggest. I do love going out just for a ride. I have a drone now, so I started doing drone work for my employer a little bit. So I like to get out and practice that a little bit. But other than that, it's sitting in the house chilling. Good morning, Snake Oil. It's a nice name, Snake Oil Audio. Oh, apple pie mead. We would make apple pie every once in a while back in Wyoming. So good. This little meadery here though is local. It's tiny. They don't distribute. It's you have to go there to get it. You can't even buy it in a store here. Thomas, thank you so much. I know my wife's excited to get back to her home country for a while, see her family. It's been too long since we got to visit, so we're really excited. When you leave the U.S., do you think you will ever feel the need to move back? Or do you think you've got too much knowledge to feel at home in the U.S.? That's a good question. Obviously, anytime you move away from family, it's difficult. You know, you have friends and family that you're going to be away from and quite some distance away from. And when I was in the military and lived over there, I did miss my family. I wanted to come back, but I was in a different mindset back then. I was military. I thought I was doing all the right things, and I thought the U.S. was the greatest country in the world and all of that. But now, you know, when people ask me why I want to go back to Germany so bad, I had an old boss in Wyoming, ask me, and I looked at him. No, actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. It was a boss I had here when I was working security. And I told him one day, I said, you know, if I got offered a job in Germany, I'd leave right now. I wouldn't even give you notice. I would say, sorry, I am leaving. And he asked me why I wanted to go back so bad. And I told him, I can't put it into words. It's something that I feel when I get off the plane in Germany. It's something that comes over me that makes me feel like I'm home, like I've arrived home. And I explained this to my grandma, and she said that's the way she feels about my hometown. And I said, yeah, it's the same thing. It's not that I hate the United States or, you know, don't want anything to do with it. It's just I don't feel like I belong here. There's something in Germany that is drawing me over. And every time we go visit, I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. And when I get ready to get on the plane to come back, I full-blown anxiety attack. Like, I try to think of anything that I know I want to go back, but I can't come up with anything. Yes, family and friends, but you know what? They can come visit, or we can come back and visit. So right now, I would say no, there would be nothing outside of that would want me to come back to the United States. Nothing. But, you know, a few years down the road after living in Germany, I could change my mind. I could miss the United States to the point where I want to move back. But at this point in my life, I've had enough of it here, and it's time to move on. It's time to start another chapter. So we're looking forward to it. All right, good morning, everybody. Well, good evening for you guys over there in Germany and England and Scotland. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. Boston. Um, that you know where you belong, and once you get there, you don't look back. I've thought about it, having letting everybody know when we get to Germany if anybody's near the area to try and meet up. I'm not sure. I don't think of myself as having um, that many followers that would want to meet up with me, but it would be kind of fun to meet a lot of you, um, even other YouTubers that do, Americans that live in Germany, to try and do a dog's going crazy in the background. She must have heard a fly 5 miles away. But that would be kind of neat. I don't know how many people are around the Kaiserslautern area, Rhineland-Pfalz, but being there for 2 weeks, time is of the essence, and my wife and I are planning a 3-day trip, just the two of us, to get away. We're going to go to Switzerland for a few days, just because we haven't been able to do that in years. We used to travel a lot when we were dating, just get in the car, listen to music, and drive around, go visit some castles, that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to doing that. Oktoberfest, yeah, that would be kind of cool to go meet with people during Oktoberfest. Although I will tell you a quick story about Oktoberfest. We went one year while we were dating, my wife and I, and we couldn't have timed it any more wrong. It was just terrible timing. First of all, it was the last weekend of Oktoberfest. And if you've ever been to Oktoberfest, you know that that's not the weekend you want to go, because it's even more crowded, I feel. Between that and the first day, you don't want to go. And then on top of that, Bayern Munich was having a home soccer game against 1860. So it was an inner city rivalry football game. I said soccer, didn't I? So there was a bunch of Bayern fans on the train, drunk, and no offense to anybody from Bavaria and Bayern, we aren't Bayern fans. So that was something else. Then we stood in line for an hour at one of the beer tents and never made any progress. Didn't take a single step. So I got to the point where I said, look, we're going to be the only two in history to go to Oktoberfest and not drink a beer, but I'm done. I'm out. So we left, and we actually ended up at the Hofbräuhaus. So we did end up drinking a beer. It wasn't quite as busy over there, but I thought, you know what? I experienced Oktoberfest. I don't think I'm ever going to do this again. I don't do well in large crowds, especially large drunk crowds, but we will have to try it again, and maybe not the last weekend, and make sure Bayern doesn't have any home games that weekend. Yes, one of the perks of being a smallish country, nothing's really that far away. It really blew my mind living over there for a while that you could drive, and where I was stationed the first time, a group of us decided one weekend that we were going to go to France. So we went to Metz, France, went to a couple clubs there, got bored, drove up to Luxembourg, went to a club in Luxembourg, got finished there, and drove back to Germany, all in the same night. So 3 countries, one night. That was pretty amazing. And we used to go shopping in Luxembourg a lot because it's about an hour and a half maybe drive from where my wife is from. Berlin is about a 6-hour drive. I know where we're going, and Switzerland is about a 6-hour drive. The last time I was there, I took a drive by myself and went to France, just over the border. So yeah, you can really get anywhere quick over there. 6 hours from where I live. I could be at the Grand Canyon. I could probably be in Mexico if I wanted to go. But there's a whole lot of open space here. So 6 hours any direction, I'm probably still in the same state. You know, in 6 hours over there, I could be in 3 different countries. All right. Well, once we move over there, you know, I'll be over there for a lot longer than 2 weeks. So we could always plan get-togethers at some point when we move as well. What could the YouTubers community do with all their experiences from Europe for open up the American attitude? I wish it was that easy. I wish we could explain in a way that people would understand that there's a whole world out there beyond our borders that they need to experience. And I think I realized that first when I was in the military and I was deployed to Bosnia. And this was the late 90s. And I thought, as we're driving in convoy through these little Bosnian towns that were completely destroyed by their war, and you have little kids in the front yard laughing and smiling and playing with a football and having a good time. And I thought, man, I have nothing to bitch about. Like, nothing. I cannot complain about anything because this kid is missing half his house and he's smiling. So that really opened my eyes to the rest of the world. That point right there really opened me up to how other people live and that they don't have it very well, but they're making it work and they're happy and they're grateful for what they have. And here we take everything for granted and we want more and we aren't satisfied with what we have. So yeah, I really wish a lot of people would get out. You know, there's so many people here that they've never left their hometown, let alone their state and the country. And so they have this one-track mind of this is the way the whole world works, and that's not it at all. So I wish people would go. And I tell everybody I talk to, you have to take a trip, get out of the United States, go somewhere and be open about it. You know, don't go there thinking it's going to be like the United States or that they operate like the United States. Go with an open mind, and it would change a lot of people's lives. It really would. Yeah, I've seen a few of those videos. I haven't watched them. I've seen them pop up in my feed a little bit. The difference between the American football chants and the real football chants, if you will. And I actually started reacting to one, but it was blocked. I think it was copyrighted, so I didn't post it. What I really don't want to do is react to stuff that is blocked in Europe. And I know a lot of things, depending on where you are, you will or will not be able to view. So I want to try and keep it open to as many people as we can. So I'll try and find some. I know I've never been to a professional football match, European football match. I've been to an American football game, and I will never go back to another one. But I would love to go to a Premier League game. That would be intense. Not to say the Bundesliga is no less intense, but those English guys on that, whew, that would be something else. And I keep up a lot on. That was one of the questions here. I'll answer. Where is it? What kind of videos do you watch on YouTube just for fun outside of your reactions? That is, and that's one of them. I catch up on a lot of football, Premier League, Champions League, even the La Liga and the Bundesliga when I can. So I'm always watching rematches or the highlights of those. I played soccer. I played football for pretty much my entire life, since I was about 6 years old, all the way through high school and a little bit in college. And absolutely, that's my passion. That sport is, sorry for anybody who doesn't like it, but that is the best sport out there. I'll just say that. I absolutely love it. My wife loves it. Her family loves it. So it's great when we get to watch it. When the World Cup comes around, don't call us. Don't knock on the door. We're not answering anything. We're sitting in front of the TV watching every single game. So that would be fun to go to an actual game over there. Have I been to any other countries outside the U.S. and Germany? Yes, actually I have. Let's see if I can remember all of them. Canada, and that was by accident. Obviously Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium, Holland, England, Spain, France, Hungary, Bosnia, Herzegovina, so the former Yugoslavia area, and did I miss any? I think that might be it. And I don't count countries that I've just driven through. I only count countries visited if I've stayed a period of time there. So those are the ones, and I will be adding Switzerland to that list as soon as we go back to Germany this summer. And I have quite a few more on my list of places I want to see. So I have seen a few different places over there. Which state do you live in? I live in Arizona at the moment. Phoenix, Arizona. Censorship on the radio. You know what? I've laughed about that forever. Listening to the radio in Germany, it, kind of caught me off guard. Let me back up a little bit. I went to Spain in high school as a foreign exchange student for a summer program. So I spent 6 weeks in Spain, and my host family, we were having lunch, and the TV was on, and a commercial came on, and it was for shampoo, I believe. And it was a woman in the shower. And it was a full view from the waist up. No censorship, no black bars, no anything. And this was in the middle of the day. And I'm 17 years old. I'd never witnessed this before. And I look over, and I'm trying not to stare at this woman taking a shower on the TV. And I look at my host family, and they're just eating like nothing's going on. And I thought, wow, that's a huge difference right there. And then listening to the radio, and they don't beep out every other word. And then you listen to the radio here, and they beep out the wrong part of the word. Now, it's like you can't say hole, but you can say ass. Or they'll beep out drug names, or it doesn't make any sense, the logic behind their censorship to begin with. Like, if you're going to censor the word. Don't censor part of the word, and don't let others go through it. It just doesn't, it's stupid. Yeah, but we have freedom of speech, right? So it doesn't make any sense. There are European songs that are censored over in US. Oh, I'm sure there is. If you listen to some, they'll bleep out any bad words or drug related or even derogatory terms. Wow, in Denmark you have an assembly in the works, huh, for U.S. expats to talk about the pros and cons of living abroad. Wow, that'd be interesting. That would be that'd be kind of fun to be a part of. I mean, like I've said in my videos, no one place is perfect. You're not going to have a perfect government. You're not going to have perfect people. But there are better ways to do things. And I think the world in general, countries can learn from each other, and take pieces of one that works and apply it to yours. And some things you'd have to obviously change because just the dynamics of the way the countries run, it wouldn't work as much or as well. So that would be interesting to see. Yes, the American misconception about socialism and universal health care. Now, I know that there's pros and cons to the universal health. We tried doing that. Obama tried putting that in place, but then the Republicans destroyed it to the point where it was not what it was when he drafted it. And so that's what we got, the Affordable Care Act. And I agree that it wasn't affordable at all. But that's the problem. You have people so against one party. They might be for the idea, but they'll never admit it because they're on the other side of the aisle. So they're going to rip it apart until it makes no sense. And then that's what the American people get. I would think about possibly participating in such a thing. I think that would be a lot of fun and educational, Nate Diaz. I'm not sure who Nate Diaz is. Favorite sports outside of English football or soccer? Hockey, ice hockey. Both my wife and I love hockey, and I love baseball. So, the American sport, the American pastime. Played baseball for 5 years growing up. I can watch any team when it's baseball, just like I can watch any football. I do watch American football, not the NFL so much because I think it's too much of a business now. But I do enjoy college football. Really enjoy that. So, have I ever been in East Europe? I have not, and that's somewhere I'd like to go. My birth father has a lot of. Where is he from? I think his grandparents were Czech, I believe. So I have a lot of Eastern European blood and didn't know anything about it. A little history of myself. My birth father, I never knew. And so my dad, person I call my dad now, is the one who adopted my sister and I when we were really young. But I would love to go to Eastern Europe. Yeah, I don't have any places that I necessarily wouldn't want to visit. I just have to be careful on where I go because I would be looked at as an American, and we all know that some places we have huge targets on our back, and I don't want to put myself or my wife in any kind of danger. So I would really have to do some research on where. But yes, Eastern Europe, I'd love to go. I'd love to go visit. Yes, hockey, Red Sox. I was a Red Sox fan. The best games I ever watched was when they came back from being 3 games down to the Yankees and won the next 4 and kicked them out of the World Series. That was awesome. Do you think it is ever possible to establish a major third political party to get alternative setup to the bipolar system. They've been trying. They really have been trying. It would have to take a lot, I believe, to get that off the ground. The independents or the Bernie Sanders, but I think it's such a drastic difference between the Democrat and Republican parties that it would really have to be something special, I'm afraid, to get it started. I'm not saying it would be impossible. I think it would be possible. More people would have to be on board with it, and they would have to stop suppressing our voting system. The German healthcare system is getting worse and worse every year, too. I've heard that a lot about that type of healthcare, the national healthcare system, that your wait times are going to be a lot longer. And that might be one of the sad byproducts of a national healthcare system. It's like the VA system here in the United States, where I can make an appointment. I'm not getting seen for 3 months unless it's an emergency, and I just take myself to the hospital. I had a procedure done a month ago. I had to reschedule because my half-brother and his wife were in town, and I never met him before, so I wasn't going to go through this procedure the same weekend he was going to be here. So I rescheduled, and it was almost 2 months later was the next available appointment. Luckily, it was nothing life-threatening. It's voluntary. It was something that I chose to do, but still, the wait times I've heard can be pretty extreme with any kind of nationalized healthcare. Nate Diaz is a UFC fighter. Oh, nice. I guess I take that as a compliment then, right? Do you think there should be at least a minimal amount of room for censorship, such as against hate speech or anything that promotes violence, just to name a couple of examples? Absolutely. I'm all for freedom of speech, freedom to express your ideas and your thoughts. However, when that comes down to inciting violence or hate speech, absolutely not. There's no room in the world for that type of deal, because it starts there. It starts with somebody saying something and then escalates quickly. And because we have the God-given right to carry an arsenal of firearms everywhere we go, you know where that can lead. So it's a tricky topic, because who makes a decision on where that line is drawn? But we don't have ultimate freedom of speech. It is illegal to go into a crowded theater and yell fire, because that is putting people's lives at risk. So why not have hate speech illegal as well, or speech that incites violence? I think that should be against the law as well. Yay, Switzerland, that's right. U.S. is not a democracy. It is not. And when they keep suppressing the votes or the way we vote in certain areas, limiting hours that you're able to vote, not giving you the day off to go vote, they're stacking the cards in their favor. That's the only thing they're doing. They can give you every other reason out there that they're doing it because of corruption. That's baloney. It's just not happening at the scale that they want you to believe it's happening. So they're telling you, well, now we can't vote when we can. Thanks, Fabio. I really appreciate that. Liechtenstein, huh? Nice. What do I define as hate speech? Wow. That's a good question. Like I said, it would be very difficult to draw the line at what would be okay and what wouldn't be okay. I guess hate speech for me would be anything that would be derogatory towards somebody's race or sexual orientation or background, skin color, that is derogatory, right? So don't say the N-word. Don't, things like that. I think I would classify as hate speech against a certain people. I don't know. It's hard. It really is. It's difficult to draw that line. Sport going political regarding the war in Ukraine. I'm not sure if I know exactly what you mean. I haven't seen a whole lot of sports going political with that regard. I do appreciate the Premier League all taking a knee before the games to combat any racial biases. I'm okay with that. You have to be careful when you're mixing politics with anything, you know. See, one good thing about being prior military is I do have the VA system, so I don't pay for any healthcare coverage either. I've had multiple major surgeries, no cost. Medications are cheap. So I'm grateful for that, extremely grateful, because I would be in medical debt for the rest of my life if I had to pay for every procedure that I've had done. I've had 2 major back surgeries, hernia surgery, I had an appendectomy. So I can't imagine the people that pay for this. And the stupid thing is we pay for insurance and then have to pay on top of that. So what? My son was just in an accident this weekend with the car. And it's the same thing with car insurance. We've paid into car insurance year after year after year, and nothing happens. We get into an accident, guess what? Our insurance is going to go up. So we're getting penalized for using insurance that we're required to have, that we're paying for. So it doesn't make any sense. Are you using Aura Ring? No, this is actually a ring from a organization to bring awareness to veterans who commit suicide. So this is an honor ring. So I wear this to just bring awareness to the 22 veterans that commit suicide every day. So yeah, that's what that is. To use football terms, hate speech is when you play the person, not the argument. That's a good analogy. Very good analogy. Day Sailor, thank you very much. Thank you. I try and stay as calm as possible. Heidelberg. I've been to Heidelberg. I love Heidelberg. Very, very pretty. Very pretty. I almost got airlifted into Heidelberg, actually, because my appendectomy was done in Germany, and I had complications after the surgery, and my large intestine stopped working, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, so they almost airlifted me to Heidelberg. Thankfully, they figured it out, and I didn't have to, but... All right. Darian, U.S. Army veteran, 13 Bravo. Nice. I was a 19 Delta. Cavalry Scout. If someone was to call someone fat and lazy and they happen to be both, would you define that as hate speech? Not necessary. I mean, it's wrong. You shouldn't call anybody fat and lazy, even if they are fat and lazy. But I wouldn't define that necessarily as hate speech. Like I said, I'm thinking hate speech more of a against a class of people, you know, against the African American community or the gay community, LGBTQ, trans, you know, that I think is where I would classify the hate speech. Granted, it can bleed into other areas as well, but calling somebody fat and lazy is just rude. So the VA system is a form of socialism in the U.S. Certainly is. How often do you get back to Germany? Not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. I think my wife and I have been married for 24 years this month. And outside of us living there, we have visited, or she has visited 6 times. So not nearly enough. And we are going back in June, finally, to go back for a few weeks. Thank you, Weeping Scorpion. I appreciate that as well. Faroe Islands. Nice. Yes, Bavaria is very beautiful. I went to Munich on my birthday one year. München, right? And it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Jimmy. All right. All right, Darian. I'm glad I could encourage you. Excuse me. I'll have to check out your channel as well. München. Just don't ask me to say the German pronunciation of Cologne. Not gonna happen. My wife laughs at me every single time. I think that's one of those sounds that's just impossible for anybody but a German to say correctly. Yes, suicide prevention is very tough work. Mental health is tough. Garmisch. Where's Garmisch at? Is that Bavaria? Is that south? Because we'll be up near Kaiserslautern the second week. I'll be there June 6th through 2 weeks after that. Yes, that is the word, Boston. I'm not, yeah. The O umlaut is impossible. Kern? Is that close? Did I get it close? Kern? Kern. Not a democracy, but a plutocracy. Definitely, yeah, it's not democracy. It's something. It's something that's not, I'm sure it's not what the founding fathers wanted, even though they weren't the greatest people in the world if you actually knew their history. Thanks, Boston and Fabio. More back of the throat. Kern. Like I got something stuck in my throat? Nice. FC Kaiserslautern's our team in Germany as well. I was there in 1998 when Kaiserslautern took the cup. It was amazing. My father-in-law was actually offered the starting goalkeeper position when he was younger, back when they didn't get paid to play, and he felt like his job was more important, and so he turned him down. So that's been our team since the moment I met my wife, and we were there during the parade downtown Kaiserslautern after they won the cup. It was a lot of fun. And then they just went right after that. Yes, after a few Kölsch, I'll be able to pronounce it. My brother-in-law, my wife's brother-in-law, and I would always make a joke, the more he drank, the better English he spoke. Excuse me. And the more I drank, the better German I spoke. K-Town. Yep. I'm getting there. I try. How do Germans respond if you tell them that you like it there? Yeah, some seem to not get it because that's where they live. I think after a while you get complacent wherever you live in the world. And you may get to a point where you stop seeing the beauty of a place, right? So my brother-in-law loves the United States. He loves it over here. They came to visit us in Wyoming, and he loves the mountains, and he said, I would want to live here. And I thought he was crazy because I'm thinking, no, I want to live in Germany because that's better. And I think it's just your perspective. I've been here my whole life, and so you get blind to the beauty that is around us. And so I think that's the same for anybody in any country, that you get used to where you are, so you fail to see the beauty in it. And I try to see the beauty in things here, but it's really hard to see beauty in cacti and dirt, because that's all that's here. It's very pretty, don't get me wrong. It's a very different landscape here, but yeah, I think it's just all on your perspective. Frankfurt in mid-June. You'll probably be arriving as I'm leaving. Greatest passions, interests. Kind of touched on that before, but photography, woodwork, those are two of my biggest interests. Football, passion, travel. I love traveling. I love experiencing new things. So anytime I can get out and experience something new, do something for the first time, I'm all for it. I will try anything at least once. I have a video up where I got to fly a small plane for a little while. I just jumped on the opportunity. I said, why not? Life is too short to put things off for very long. So I got the opportunity. So I went and flew a little 2-seater airplane for 45 minutes and have the memories and the experience. So just trying new things, seeing the world. I want to see as much as I can of this world. Where do I want to live when I retire? Greetings from the Netherlands. We are moving back to Germany. That's going to happen. My wife's sister and husband own a house in their hometown that they built. And so they're renting it at the moment, and they will rent it to us for a while until we can find a place to buy. But yes, Germany is where we're going to set up base camp, I guess, if you will. All right. Being a metalhead. All right. You know, I never was a metalhead. Um, in high school, the hardest music I listened to was AC/DC and Metallica's Black album, which is their calmest album. But now I'm getting more and more into the heavier stuff. I still can't do like the death metal screaming. I can't. No, can't do that. But oh, yeah, I know they're not laughing at me when I say something funny. It's it's that fear of being wrong that we all have at times. So will you move? What job will you do in Germany? Yes, we are moving. Haven't figured out the job part. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe YouTube will take off to the point where I don't need a job. Um, but, once I'm to the fluency of the language, I can start looking for jobs that way. I also receive a disability from the VA, which is a nice little income. However, that's going to prevent me from getting German citizenship. Well, since they're changing and maybe allowing dual citizenship, it might not be as bad. But I know, Germany was one of those that required you to renounce your old citizenship to become a German citizen, and if I did that, I would lose my VA disability. So I didn't necessarily want to do that, but that is a nice piece of income that I get on top of working full time. So it's all still we're working on the plans. I'm more of the spontaneous. Let's just wing it, figure it out as we go. My wife is no. We need a plan. So we clash at times with what we want to do, but she keeps me grounded. I'll just put it that way. Hello, Hessen. Denise. Yes, very expensive in Switzerland. Um, but we're ready for it. Sometimes swearing lets you off the hook. Yeah. 90-minute flight, Germany to Scotland. That's what I like about it. And it's probably like, what, $100? $200 maybe? Cheap. Station in Schweinfurt. I was stationed in Baumholder the first 2 years I was there, and then Budingen the second time, which is no longer there. They've moved out of that area. So Rhineland-Pfalz, down there by Kaiserslautern, and then up northeast of Frankfurt. Yeah, the Black Album was probably their last really great album. When was the first time you thought you'd rather live in Germany over US, after you got married or before? Good luck with moving. Thank you. It was definitely after I got married. And it was after I was out of the military and moved back to the United States. And I think it was the next time we visited Germany. And it was wintertime. We went over Christmas and New Year's, which is a magical time in Germany. Got to go to the Weihnachtsmarkt and Trier a couple times. And just where my wife is from, it's a very small town, like 300 people. And we all would just take a walk, and go downtown, and we'd go into somebody's house, and everybody would hug and we'd drink a beer, and then we'd walk out of that house and then we'd walk into another house and do the same thing. It was just very close. Her town is very close. So I felt a sense of community, of family. And I think at that point is when I thought, this is where I want to be. Because then I came home and I was struggling with what was going on here, and it's just gotten worse over time. And so it's just something about being over there that is calming for me. Scotland is great too, yes. Yes, if we wanted to, although my oldest son is just working at the moment, he's not really interested in school right now. My youngest, who graduates high school this month, is going to take some time off from school and figure out what he wants to do. But yes, if they ever wanted to actually afford school, they might look at Europe. Spaghetti ice, yes. I actually mentioned that at work the other day, and they thought I was nasty because all they could picture was like spaghetti ice cream, like ice. Like, no, it's ice cream in the shape of spaghetti noodles, and then your cherry topping, or the. Never mind. I stopped trying to explain it. Real football is better. What, are you crazy? American football isn't. You know what? After watching the World Cup one year, then the NFL came on, and I couldn't do it. It was so slow. They took a timeout every 30 seconds. It's like, you guys don't even. Yeah. Real football is always better. Always better. Speak 4 languages daily, 5 languages weekly, and 7 languages every month. Just. Whew. Nice. One day I'd like to get there. I'd like to learn a number of languages. Just takes discipline. I think that's what it comes down to. Just the discipline to do it. Yes, we need a plan. Does sound very German. Yes, back problems. I do no landscaping. The Rock. Yes, The Rock. That was a terrible place. I think Elka, it is still there. It's just not. I think only a few military are there now. The last time I visited, it was, I don't know who, but I know that they are still there. The cavalry 1-1 cav that was in Udigan is not there at all. I went and visited that, and it's overrun with weeds, and it's back in German control. Yes, I'd love to go to Austria as well. I won't say no to any new place. Hello, Tigger, John. Yes, Christmas markets are, although every single time I burn the crap out of my mouth with a crepe. Never fails. Sticks to the top of my mouth, and then game over. But the Glühwein, I miss. We buy that here. They actually just opened up 2 Aldi stores here, and we could get the Glühwein at Total Wine, which is a giant liquor store, basically. And so we have that here during Christmas as well. But it's just not the same. It's not the same. Yes, Kaiserslautern it's like in the perfect spot. Like you said, it's right in the middle. It's right in the middle of Europe. You can go anywhere. I went to Paris a couple times. I took my wife to Paris for her birthday when we were dating, and we took a train from Kaiserslautern to Paris. It was a lot of fun. Dusseldorf. I have not, but I know. Who is it? Dusseldorf. There's a YouTube channel. Name escapes me right now, but I watch him. I'd like to go visit. Germany twice a year. I wish. I wish. Wacken. No, I have not seen Wacken. There were a number of festivals over there while we were over there that I would have loved to see, but just never did. Pirmesens. Excuse me. Yes, I know a lot of places over there where U.S. military was packing up. Favorite movie genres? There's a good question. I would tell you my ultimate favorite series of all time is Star Wars. Sorry, cliche, I know, but watched it growing up and absolutely love it. So I've been more into kind of the Witcher series is another favorite. So that type, that medieval, old genre, I'll watch almost anything. I like sci-fi stuff. I like drama, comedies. I guess it's whatever mood I'm in. Not big on the horror genre. Just because I think it's too corny. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of like the romantic comedies per se. But I know that sounds very man of me, right? But yeah, we don't watch a whole lot of movies, as a matter of fact, but Monsters of Rock, that would have been fun back in '88. Wow. Yes, you can add the cinnamon and cloves, orange makes it a little bit better. All right, Summer Breeze Open Air Festival. That would be fun. You know what? I would love to go see, and my wife would not, is, um, shoot, what is it called? Winterland? Is that what it is? The EDM. It's the techno stuff, which is another big music genre that I like. I would love to go that. Actually, I went to the Love Parade twice. My first time was in 2000 and then again in 2002. And that was a lot of fun. My wife absolutely hates that type of music, so she would not want to go at all. But just the atmosphere alone, just it gives me goosebumps when I watch it. Just the the crowd involvement and everybody's. That's what's great about music and festivals like that. Everybody's happy and getting along. All sorts of nationalities, countries coming together for the joy of music, and I think that's wonderful. I love music. Do I watch movies with plots where the military is involved? I have. I won't go searching for them, but I have watched quite a few, like Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan or even Hamburger Hill, the old ones, Black Hawk Down. I do, because I do miss the military. I'm not going to lie. There are times where I miss the camaraderie, the brotherhood of it, the discipline of it. So I do enjoy those movies, just kind of reminiscing about that. But the old, like World War II style movies, or World War One, the 1918 was a great movie. I often find myself thinking, how in the world did these guys survive? It just blows my mind that, for one, something like that in the world could happen. And two, that these 17, 18-year-old boys went through what they went through. I mean, it's just, I got to meet one of the soldiers from Easy Company. And not one of the actors from Band of Brothers, but that actual Easy Company soldier in Pittsburgh. And I was almost in tears. Because it was just what he had gone through. And then he told me I was his hero. I thought, there's no way. I'm not even worthy of being on the same sidewalk as you. But he was so humble. So, he's like, I'm not a hero. We did what we needed to do. And that, you ask any soldier that's not arrogant, and that's what they're going to say. Just what they went through, just incredible. Nova Rock in Austria. Then you have Metallica, David Hasselhoff, and Rammstein together. Wow, that would be. All right. All right, late night EDM at Summer Breeze. All these are like flies, they are everywhere. We just got one here where we live, and then they just opened up another one. So my wife enjoys, they finally have an Aldi where she can go shopping. Melodic metal, Tear, Nightwish, Within Temptation. I like all of them. Not sure about the Tear. Uplifting Trance, Dan Stone, and Reorder. Huh. Haven't heard of those two. Hi from Germany. Hey, Michael. Thanks for stopping by, Verti. I appreciate it. Reaction video to Rammstein Deutschland. Well, I've seen it more than once, and I'm almost in tears. I have goosebumps every time I watch it. Unfortunately, Rammstein blocks their views or their videos, so nobody in Europe would be able to watch it. And I really don't want to limit audiences. I'm not, I don't know how these music reaction channels get away with monetizing their videos, because I can't when that comes up. So I would love to, but I don't know if that's possible. If I couldn't move to Germany, what would be my alternative? That's a good question. Let's see. Of places that I've been, maybe Spain. I really loved Spain. Uh, but I'd have to visit more places. I don't know, maybe Holland as well. Somewhere along a coast would be kind of cool. But not too touristy. I don't want to deal with a bunch of tourists. I want the authentic vibe of the country, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Rammstein is one of my favorites, but I remember them from way back, so. Do I feel any responsibility towards opening the eyes of other Americans? No, I don't think so. I don't. It's a good question. I don't necessarily think it's my responsibility to do that. What I can do is provide information, provide another point of view, and then it's on them whether they open their eyes or not. I can't be the one to do it for them. Um, and all I can hope is that they have an open mind, but it's ultimately their decision. It's on them, and nobody else is going to be able to change that. So, in a sense of my responsibility to open their eyes, no, I don't think so. I think it's everybody's own responsibility to do that for themselves, and if they refuse, that's on them, you know? And I can't be bothered by that. I can't worry about that. I can worry about myself and keeping an open mind for myself. That's all I can really worry about. Yes, the Christmas markets and the people there, and it does kind of put your faith back in humanity. Put a filter over the screen. I'm not sure I know what you mean, Elka. Is that for a Rammstein video? So that you can't see the actual music video? Or what is my second favorite country? Just Prime. That's okay. Um, Comes down to two, and that would be Holland and Spain, I think. Icebrecher. Yes, I listen to them as well. Cheaper version of Rammstein. I like that. Kraftwerk. I've listened to some of them. How does my current environment react to your views? There's actually, well, where I live, Arizona's becoming more purple. If you know political terms, red, Republican, blue, Democrat, purple's kind of in the middle. Very red state, but becoming more. Sorry about that. Becoming more purple. Where I'm from in Wyoming, deep red state, so they do not agree with anything that I say, except for my family. So here in Arizona, it's difficult to say. I know that there's beginning to be more, but it's still very much a conservative Republican party. And Heilig, that's just, I don't even know how to explain their music. It's pretty intense, but VNV Nation, yes, yes. Depeche Mode, one of my wife's favorite bands as well. She always used to call them Depeche Mode, which here in the U.S. I always grew up knowing them as Depeche Mode, so it was kind of funny. I don't know maybe it is Depeche Mode, just like we mispronounce Adidas as Adidas and not Adidas. I have no idea. Okay, I'm not sure either. I know I watch quite a few music reaction channels, and I always see them reacting to them, and their video is monetized. But I think, how the heck? I'm not sure. Whoa. All right, one final question. How can there groen? No, I do not. I don't. It actually makes me sick. I have nothing against it. I think it should be legal everywhere, but I don't personally. Yes, if your family has your back, you can ignore the others. Yes. Feuerschwanz. Yes, I've seen some of their stuff too. What else does my wife like to listen to? Her favorite, I think, all time is the Beastie Boys. But she likes old 80s hair metal. We used to listen to a lot of that when we were dating. One of her favorites is Skid Row. But ironically enough, not a huge Scorpions fan. Go figure. Maybe because they played Wind of Change on loop forever after the wall came down, after the reunification. So maybe that has something to do with it. But she also, Elton John, The Cure, the Beatles. Have I been all around Germany or in just one region? I've been a few places. I wouldn't say all around, but I have been to the North Coast, up near Bremerhaven, Berlin, München, Rudesheim, Kaiserslautern, of course. So different areas. I'd like to travel to more areas, but to spend a little bit more time in each one. But Maximum the Hormone? Is that for real? No, I have not even heard of them. Might have to look that one up. Yes, Skid Row is pretty awesome. I love Skid Row. Cinderella. We listen to a lot of Cinderella on our road trips. If I got into a job, what would be my favorite and what skills do I have for that? Oof. I've done so much outside of the military. I was a plumber. I was a cable guy. I worked retail. Now I work in logistics. If it was my dream, I don't even know if I have like a dream job, but something technical maybe, computer related. That's one of my passions. I love computers, design, things like that, or even drone work. To get into some drone work, that would be pretty cool. I love being a teacher, basically. That was what I wanted to do for a degree, was secondary education, be a high school teacher. I have a lot of satisfaction with helping others understand a problem. And it's a lot of fun and brings me a lot of joy to see the light bulb moment when they understand something, or when you know that you've got their attention and they're interested in that. That to me is a great feeling. So anything where I could help others in that sense, being a teacher or mentor or something like that. I know maybe it sounds kind of egotistical at times, but that's just what I really, really enjoy doing. You got to know the Beastie Boys. Right. Electric Callboy, only in Japanese. Now that, I'm definitely going to have to look that up, because Electric Callboy, they are out there. I like it, but wow. They are one of a kind. Region or state in Germany I'd like to explore more of. I'd actually like to explore more of Bavaria, because I've been to München, but I haven't gone anywhere else really besides that. So Bavaria I'd really like to see a little bit more of, or even Eastern Germany, to get more places over there. Berlin is probably one of my favorite cities ever from any country, for the simple fact of its history and its architecture. Two things that I'm fascinated with. And so walking around in Berlin and seeing, just imagining what happened there, it gave me goosebumps. It's just, so probably those two areas I'd like to explore more. Yes, I could get a DoD job. The problem I have with that is I don't want anything to do with our government anymore. I told my wife, I said, maybe I can bite the bullet and get a job for the American government just to get settled over there and then leave, the job. But you're under contract a lot of times for a certain period of time, so you're stuck with that. But that is an option, and I'm not close to that idea at all. Speaking of which, this is my wife. But yes, that is an option. Yes, being a teacher is more of a calling than a job. I would never consider that a job. My dad was a college instructor for 30 years. My mom was a junior high art teacher. My aunt was a high school art teacher. My wife is a kindergarten teacher. It's in the blood. It's in the blood. So as a computer guy, when did you get into computers, and what computers, not including PCs, have you had or do you like? So like an Apple II, Commodore 64. I had an Amiga 3000. That was my first computer. I bought it with my own money. An Amiga 3000. That's funny. Boy, I forgot all about that computer. And then we had an old PC. I like the old Apple IIe's. So I've always really been into computers. I mean, they became a thing when I was alive. So I kind of grew up, with all the different ones that have come out. I've always, good grief. I've always been, well, not always. So I started with PC stuff, Windows-based computers, and then went to Mac computers, Apple computers, and then swore I'd never go back to a PC because I love the Apple system. I like how user-friendly it is. I understood it, and then I just built my own PC a year ago. So now I'm back on the PC side of things, but I do have a MacBook Pro, and I use an iPhone, and so I'm still Apple, but I wanted to build this strictly for video editing, And I know the Apple one thing is they're just stupid expensive, and proprietary stuff, like you can't work on it yourself, that sort of thing. So that's why I went with the PC build, so I could put my own stuff in there and upgrade it when I needed to. So I've worked on a lot of them. But man, I haven't thought about that Amiga in years. Big old 5 1/4 floppy disk. Make sure you slide it in straight or it bend and crease, and good old days. Take and see. All right. Teacher for English, maybe. Yes, that could be an option there. Favorite city in the U.S. is San Francisco. It's not a bad city. I like San Francisco. I got to visit when I was 16. It's not a bad area. I would never live in California, but visiting is okay. Hey, Suffix. Thank you for joining. Nuremberg, Markt. I've not been to that one. The only one largest one was Trier, and that was pretty massive. I want to go to Germany, not to Bavaria. Bodensee. Yes, I'd like to visit. Oh, the Autobahn question. Was I tempted to hit the pedal to the metal? Of course. I mean, we grow up here thinking mistakenly that the Autobahn is nothing but Ferraris and Lamborghinis racing down the road. And I get into arguments to this day with people about the Autobahn. I got a speeding ticket on the Autobahn. So, but for the most part, 85 miles an hour. So 130 to 140 kilometers per hour, I think, is about where I kept it most of the time. Although I bought a Honda Civic when I lived over there and sold my old car to a buddy in my platoon. And I knew that it could only do 110 miles an hour, but I didn't know how fast the Honda could go. So I pushed it, and it got to 150 miles an hour before I had to. It was at red line, so the RPMs were pushing point of blowing up the engine and slowed down. But I like who doesn't like going fast, but I don't need to. I mean, it's like driving the Autobahn here in Phoenix. The speed limit is 65, and if you're not doing 80, you're too slow. It's ridiculous. So I was tempted, and I did it. It was kind of fun. Yes, the Amiga 3000 was a great one. Geography Now from Germany. I could look into that one. Yeah, that might be something that would be all right. My speeding ticket, this was back when it was still the Deutschmark. So before the Euro. And I was doing 120 kilometers in a 100 kilometer zone, and it ended up being 50 Deutschmark, 25 Deutsch. It was nothing. It was absolutely nothing. I thought, well, all right. And they got my picture because I was driving my wife's car. We were dating, and so she got the ticket, but then she said, well, I wasn't driving. So then they pulled the picture and said, who was? That was my boyfriend. So she called me. I had to go to the Polizei. And they said, well, were you driving on this day in this car on this Autobahn at this time? And I, sure, I don't remember. So they showed me the picture. I said, yep, that's me. I tried to get them to let me keep the picture, but they just laughed at me. Said, no, we have to keep it. And I said, all right, well, I have a record in Germany at the police station now. That was pretty funny. But at least my wife didn't get any points taken off of her license, so. Yes, they do speak a completely different language in Bavaria, My wife always comments on, and she's like, well, that guy's from Bavaria. And I'm still not to the point where I can pick up dialects yet. I can a little bit with certain words, but not. Oh, and she's, obvious, she's German, so it's like me picking up a southern accent in the United States. It's real easy for me to do. But yeah, Bavarians speak a little differently. And actually, Apache 207, the rapper, right? So I got into him. I really like his stuff, and I let her listen to a song. I didn't show her the video, just let her listen. And 3 words into it, she looked at me and said, "Is he Turkish?" I'm like, how the heck? She's like, I can hear it. I can hear it. And I'm like, makes sense, but don't speed in Switzerland. Okay, I will try my best. Yes, Mallorca, your 17th state. I'd like to go, just to go, but I try to stay away from those typical tourist destinations just because you don't. I mean, for a vacation, just to get away and get away from work, I guess it would be okay. But if you want to experience somewhere else, I try and stay away from the tourist traps, like we say, just because it's not the same. Schweizerdeutsch. Yes, going fast is fun for a little bit, and then it's more, let's get back to just a cruising speed, save money on gas, save your tires, save the wear and tear on your car. Yes, I would like to visit Mallorca itself and try and stay away from the large numbers of tourists. The name of the bird and the community post. I don't know what type of bird. It's a friend's bird. We were bird sitting, but her name is Cookie. So she is something else. She's got an attitude. So that's one of maybe 6 pictures of her starting farther away and then getting right up to the phone where I was taking her, but she's like looking into the lens with her eye. So she was something else. So that's Cookie. She's a friend's bird. Here's a couple questions that I got sent over. One of them I thought was a little different. I haven't heard it too often, but have you ever removed a previously published video? Why or why not? And I can say that yes, I have. And that is mostly really old videos. I've had a YouTube channel since 2006, shortly after YouTube became a thing, I think. So I had a lot of really old videos on there, and I have taken them down, mostly because of copyright issues, because this was back before they really cracked down on any copyright, like music stuff. And so I had a couple videos and they were just old nonsense videos. It was of my military experiences, so interesting to some, not so much to others. And so, yes, I have removed, but this has been very old videos, nothing recent. What kind of videos do you watch on YouTube just for fun outside of the reactions that I do? I watch a lot of sports highlights, trying to keep up with the Premier League and Champions League, that sort of thing. I like watching other reaction channels. I found a lot of great music by watching music reactions, and a couple other American families who live in Germany, like the Black Forest family. I reacted to one of their videos not too long ago, and so I watched some of that. I also watch some how-to, because I'm into photography and woodworking and that sort of thing. I've learned a lot of skills by watching things like that. So basically a wide range. Some Mr. Ballin. I don't know if you've all heard of him. He does the creepy stories. He's an old ex-Navy SEAL. I like watching some of his stuff because it's just creepy. Things like that I watch. Favorite German dish that I crave here in the US that I can't wait to eat again when you're back in Germany? Yes. And just authentic German food. Like, now I'm not going to be able to think of any. You put me on the spot. I love schnitzel. I don't know if, is that German or is that Austrian? Because I know there's a close tie between the two. But one that I'm absolutely craving, it's not German, it's Turkish, and that is a kebab. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. And Landstuhl has, at least they did, had a little kebab place, and oh, so good. Those are the best. If I could package those up and bring them with me, that would be amazing. But that is probably the biggest thing that I'm missing, that I crave, even though it's not German food, but just a German beer, a good authentic German beer from Germany. I know we can get them over here, but they're imported. So I don't know. There's just something different about drinking a German beer in Germany. Yes, Mr. Ballin is fantastic at storytelling. He very, very, very interesting to watch. Let's see, several channels, including yours, where people seem to undergo a transformation regarding their views. Was there a key moment with you? Very good question. And it's not since watching other videos, not YouTube. I don't know that I can put a finger on it. I don't know that I can pinpoint the exact moment, but there is a definite transformation in my beliefs and my way of thinking since getting out of the military. I think I've talked about it in a video or two before about how I was your typical American. US is the best and we can't do any wrong, or that nonsense. And it was the military. It was absolutely the military, because you're trained to believe that. You have to believe that. You cannot ask questions. You cannot question why. And so after I got out, I was still in that mindset. I was still the one that would get really mad if somebody talked bad about the United States, or if they talked bad about the flag, or if they didn't stand up for the national anthem, or your typical stereotypical American. And over time, I think I just started doing my own looking, my own reading, my own, I hesitate to say research because it wasn't that in depth, but I started to realize that that was wrong. That, that there's so much more to the story than what I was fed. And I want to say it was about the time Obama took office for the second time. I did not vote for him the first time. I voted for him the second time. And I think at that point, I started to reevaluate everything that I had believed in. And it took a long time. It took a very long time. I was in a very dark place after the military. Anxiety, depression. Because I left the military abruptly, I wasn't necessarily ready to leave. And then I was forced to start over. And I was thrown back into civilian society without any guidance, without any help. And so that took me to the edge. And so it took years to find my way back. And I think the more I looked at it, the more I realized, yes, military is brainwashed. And yes, it's a necessity. But I'm not that person anymore. I'm not in the military. So why can I not make up my own mind? And so I started just slowly stepping back, I think, and looking at it from another angle. And my wife helped out a lot. Being German, she didn't understand a lot of my views and beliefs because she's German and I'm from the United States, and two different systems, two different ways of thinking. And so she helped a lot. She helped a lot on guiding me or just being there while I went through this transformation. So it hasn't been from YouTube. It started well before that. And I think now it's just more, the more I see, just cements that thought that, hey, I was so wrong back then, totally wrong, and I'm not too proud to admit it. You know, I mean, we have to admit our mistakes or we don't grow, we don't learn, we don't progress. And I wish more people would try, just try. So, good question. Where was I? That was a very good question. Do I plan on doing any photography content? I mean, I could do more content. And one thing that I would like to ask all of you that are here currently is just what else would you like to see? I don't want this to be a reaction channel. I know a lot of people like watching reactions, and I wouldn't do away with those because I like doing them. But I feel like I could also contribute more in other areas, photography being one, or maybe woodwork, things like that. I don't want it to stray too much because you're going to have the people, you know, it's that whole YouTube thing where you have an audience, they expect you to show one thing, and if you start showing other things, then they won't come back because they don't want to see that. So it's either I start another channel with things outside of reactions or Germany related or European related content, or I can just create the playlists and do it that way. But I would not be opposed to doing photography. I work more in film photography, so I can develop my own stuff. I have darkroom equipment and enlargers to make my own prints and all of that. So I could definitely look into doing that if that's something people would be interested in seeing, watching. Music reactors. Alex Hefner, I watch quite a bit. Just because he's crazy. And Rhodey's reactions. He does a different take on music reaction. He'll do a lot of the equipment knowledge. So the guitars that they play, the drums they play, the history of them, which is really interesting to know. And he's done a lot of bands that I like, so I enjoy watching those. Oh yes, doner kebabs. Haven't had in 5 years. Yeah, it's been longer than that for me. Austrian is veal, German is pork. Okay, I knew there was a difference. Thank you, Elka. I knew there was a difference. All right, Ulysses. Just joined and just discovered me 10 minutes ago. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard. "417 kilometers per hour. Good grief. Putting yourself out there and talking about yourself takes guts. Thank you. It is hard. It can be hard. I've gotten some pretty nasty comments on some of these videos. What am I using for streaming? I'm using OBS for the streaming software. It's the only thing I have. Yes, they have places where you can set records. Come over here to the desert. We got the flats out here where they set land speed records all the time. So, Chase, hey, you know what? I saw your comment up there about photography. It didn't even dawn on me. My bad. Thank you. It's awesome. How you been? Top 3 topics you would like to cover with your channel. You know what? I would like to, once we get out of here and start traveling, do a lot of travel stuff. I want to show people the world. And if that's just my family, so be it. You know, they can live through me, I guess. So I'd love to show more travel stuff. And top 3. I did some old videos on photography, and so I could do that again. And woodworking. You know, I'm thinking of getting a laser engraver cutter next, and so I'd like to do some more of that. I have a CNC, but I haven't turned that on in probably a year. It's been a long time since I've been out there in the garage, and now that it's summertime, it's going to be 150 degrees out there, so I'm not going to want to go out there and do it. But yeah, those would be probably my top 3. Glad you're enjoying it, Chase. I miss you, man. For those of you who don't know, Chase we used to work together here in Phoenix, and he moved without our camping trip, which I'm still holding you to, Chase. Good guy, though. Very good guy. How often, seldom, would you get trolls on your channel, and how would you normally approach them? You know, as a matter of fact, in all honesty, not that many. And most of their comments go into the held for review portion. So I'll go in and look, and like I said, some of them have been pretty nasty. And so I ignore them. I don't feed into it. That's the only reason they're on there. They want a reaction from you. If you don't give them that reaction, they go away, or most of the time. So I refuse to play their game. I won't interact with trolls anywhere, and it takes everything I have not to respond, because I have a few choice words for a few of them, but it does no good. It solves nothing, and just gets my heart rate up. So I just try and you know what? They believe what they want to believe. I can think of them the way I want to think of them. They think of me the way they want to think of me. Nothing's going to change. I'm not changing their mind why waste the energy? So luckily I haven't had too much of that. So it's been nice. Yes, I would definitely record my adventures in Europe. I'll be doing that this June when we go back. So be on the lookout for that. Now I might be away for a couple weeks just because I want to, don't want to worry about editing and uploading while I'm there. But I will definitely be taking lots of footage and pictures and just having a good time. Yes, Chase, we need to hang out for sure. Tom McDonald. Do I know who Tom McDonald is? Nürburgring. I went to Hockenheimring. I took a neighbor's son to drag racing in Hockenheimring. That was pretty intense. That was a lot of fun. Best crashes on Nürburgring. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, trolls are always trying to tear you down. I just won't let it. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy at all, but whatever. Oh, Tom McDonald's a badass rapper. All right. Then that's a compliment, I guess, right? I sound like Tom McDonald. Yes, unfortunately, there are a lot of people with narrow ways of thinking, and they just refuse to think any other way. So I'm not going to go as far to say is there a lost cause, because I think anybody's capable of changing their mind. It ultimately comes down on them, though. Nobody else is going to do that. So why waste your energy on people like that when you can help people that are willing to open their mind? Am I interested in the history of World War II? Yes, absolutely. Any history. Actually, more so history of World War One, because I feel like World War II gets all the attention, and World War One is its bastard kid. That we know it happened. It happened first. It was the Great War. But then it's World War II and all of the things that happened then. So thank you, Stefan, for the compliment. I appreciate it. But yes, history of World War II, World War One, and like I said, that's why Berlin is one of my favorite cities. Just the one city I've been in that's been, a pivotal part of World War II, and the history of that alone, and what happened, and the people involved, and it just blows my mind. Like the castles, like going to castles in Europe, and there's one in Landstuhl, and there's a freaking cannonball still stuck in the wall outside, and that just amazes me to no end. I can stand there and stare at that for an hour, just thinking, who shot that? Like, where did that come from? Who's the one that let the spring go on that catapult to launch that cannonball into the stone wall of this castle? And to walk around these places knowing that you're walking on history, that you're walking back in time. Literally, you are going back in time when you visit these castles, and it's just, I'd love to be able to time travel and go back and witness from outside. I don't want to live in that time because no thanks, but to see it in action, to see how they lived, how they survived, how they operated as communities, would be so amazing. Oh, politics. What do you see happening in your state, country? A lot of bad shit's happening in my state and country. They just came down with a leaked report that the Supreme Court is going to strike down Roe versus Wade. And that is devastating. I don't care what your opinion is of abortion rights, but that's setting us back 50 years. And I feel like the United States is going backwards. It's almost like they're trying to destroy everything to build it back up the way they want it to be. And it's sickening. It's heartbreaking, and I don't see the end. So that's all I got with that. History is a fourth topic. All right. Would you say you have an optimistic approach towards things? Yes, I try. I try very much. And Chase and I have had many conversations out there at the racetrack about life, about your state of mind, about the law of attraction, and Chase, I know I miss those conversations a lot. You're gonna get me all choked up. So yes, I tried. I was very negative up until that point. I was very in my own head, very why has this happened to me? It's not fair. When so and so, I see people being successful and I don't feel like I'm being successful. And I remember specifically one night on patrol, and I think I told you this, Chase, that I was driving the truck down and I was just thinking of all the shit, and my mind went blank. And I'm not a religious person, okay? I don't practice religion. I don't believe in necessarily a God. I don't have a problem with people who do. It's just not me. But when I tell you that my mind went blank and a voice in my head said, "You are where you need to be right now," freaked me out. I'm not saying that was God. I'm not saying, whatever. You can believe what you want to believe. I think it was the universe telling me. After that moment, a wave of peace came over me. And I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? That's true. We aren't where we are by accident. There is a purpose. Whether we know that purpose or not is another story, but I was there. I honestly believe I worked security at Phoenix International Raceway so I could meet Chase. Because together, I think helped me get to that point. Having those conversations helped me realize that I need to stop worrying about the what ifs or the it's not fair attitude and concentrate on my own life. So from that point, I've looked at everything as positively as I can. Am I saying that things don't piss me off? No. Drivers here in Phoenix piss me off. And I will have to consciously focus my energy to calm down. It's a learning experience. It's a growth. It's something that doesn't come easy. But yes, I try and look at life more now as a positive adventure. Nothing is out of coincidence. Maybe this conversation we're having today might help one person out there. Whether you're here right now or you're somebody who watches this later. And if that's the case, then that was the point behind this. And that's all I try and remember, is that I'm doing the best that I can. And I'm the only one that has control over my emotions. Nobody else has that power over me. They do not make me angry. I allow myself to get angry. And when you realize that, you find that you have the power to stop being angry and being positive. And like I said, it's hard. It takes time, but I'm happier for it. My marriage is better for it. My wife is happier. And that's all that matters. So, holy crap. That went deep, deeper than I expected. So, wow. Now I gotta scroll up because everybody's like, wait a minute. Okay. Not to put you on the spot, you can take your time to answer or don't answer. Is there something about Germany that you think U.S. Americans have a misconception about? Let me think about that one. I think I have an idea, but I'll think about that one. Am I optimistic that we can avoid a third world war given the state of global affairs? You know, truthfully, I think we can. I honestly think we can avoid it because we have people in place that aren't nuts. There are some nuts, but I think we have enough attitude to prevent it. That's a hard one. The fallen of World War II. Okay, I'll look into that, Michael. Yes, Europe has tens of thousands of years of old history. Much younger. Thanks, Chase. Yeah, he would be a much younger brother. Yeah, it's like the perfect moment where it's just, you can't explain it, really. Unless you've experienced it, it's hard to explain that moment of peace. And I'm sorry it hasn't happened again. I haven't had that either. I think that was the one I needed. And so, when the mind gets blank, you start at zero so you can start over. Yep. I'm glad, Chase. Glad to hear it. Hope everything's all right with you. Fallen of World War II. Yep. The cancer of my son when he was 7. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, Stefan. I'm really glad he's doing better. I'm glad he's healthy. I couldn't imagine going through something like that. Misconception is that all Germans stare at you. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I never really felt like I was always stared at when I was in Germany. Okay, so I will tell you that a funny story about my mom when I told her I was dating a German. This tells you the narrow mindset of some Americans. The immediate picture she got into her head was the stereotypical Nordic Viking woman. Big boned, big breasts, horned hat. That was her immediate thought. And I thought, what are you even talking about, Mom? That is not even remotely close to, one, what my wife looks like, and two, what German women in general look like. I mean, so I don't know that that's really answering your question. That came to mind, which I thought was pretty funny, that they have this misconception of Germans being, well, that's not a misconception if it's true that they are blunt, like, tell you like it is. I think what I'm trying to get at is harsh, like abrasive, not rude per se, but abrasive. I think that's the best word that I can come up with. And I didn't feel that or find that at all living over there. I felt them to be very warm and inviting. And maybe that's the places that I visited, and my wife's circle of family and friends and hometown. Granted, you go to any city in the world, you're going to be confronted with rude people. Paris, Berlin, Munich, New York City, LA, Phoenix, anywhere in the world, you're going to have rude people. But in general, I feel like the German people are warm and caring, not this abrasive. And maybe it's the language that they think about that's so abrasive, because the German language can be pretty harsh. And so maybe that's why. Yes. To the point, no small talk. I absolutely love that. What's the point of small? You really don't care how I'm doing today, so why bother asking? Has my mom never watched Angela Merkel? I don't think so, not until that point. But when she met my wife, she was like, oh, that is not what I had imagined. I'm like, now, for one, Mom, she's like 110 pounds, like soaking wet. Not even remotely. I don't know why she had that image in her head, but she's been over there to visit, and she's met my wife's family, and so she knows. But it was just funny that was her first thought. Yeah, Oktoberfest in a smaller Bavarian town would be a little bit better um, than the actual Oktoberfest. Probably, they have Oktoberfest festivals in many places. But how are you doing today? I'm actually doing great. I'm doing okay today. Thank you for asking. This is a lot of fun. I don't know how long I've been going. Is there a timer somewhere? 10:48. Holy crap, it's been like 2 hours. So it's been a lot of fun. So I'm doing okay. Although I have to go pick up a rental car when we're done here, because my son got into his first accident this weekend. And so we have to go deal with that. But like I told him, it's just a car. That can be replaced. He can't, so no big deal. Yeah, you sound like you're not quite as bad, though. I don't feel like the German language sounds nearly as aggressive as Chinese. I worked at a Chinese restaurant before the military, and it was owned by a local Chinese family. I went to school with their daughter, and her parents didn't speak English very well at all. Very little English. So they were always screaming at each other in Chinese. And I was thinking, whoa, somebody's getting lit up back there. And she'd come out like nothing. I was like, what is going on? What do you mean? They're just talking. I'm like, no, they're not. They're like screaming at each other. So I don't think the German language quite like that. But yes, I can understand where if you really get going, like listening to my wife and her sister start talking is pretty funny, because they start getting louder, and then yeah, I can see where people would think you're having an argument or fighting. Oh, this is amazing, Chase. Yeah, I had no idea. Being the first time, I thought maybe 3 people would show up. No, this is great. I am gonna have to call it quits pretty soon. Just because I didn't realize it's almost 11 o'clock and we have to go get a rental car and get back home before my son has to go to work. So, yes, my son is okay. Just hit the curb, but broke a wheel. No other cars or people involved. He's fine. Totally okay. Danish and Dutch in aggressiveness. All right. Yes, Chinese Mandarin is very tone-based language. All right, I'll try and do that. I'll add some funny anecdotes. I have so many stories. Ask Chase. We would tell stories for hours. Military stories, whatever. Thank you, Tigger, for joining. Thanks, Chase. It is. It is a lot of fun. One thing I wish, and I know would be chaotic, but to hear other people, instead of trying to keep up with comments. But no, this is a blast. I'm having a ton of fun, and I will be doing more of these. So be on the lookout for that. All the stories. Yes. All the stories. Hey Chase, we could do a, what do you call that? Collaboration. Let's do a collab. How do you do that? We could both be on live stream, right? We can both tie in like a Zoom call. That'd be freaking fun. Just have a storytelling hour. Yeah, teach me, master. I don't do Zoom stuff. He's the streamer guy, so he will have to show me how to do that. Yeah, well, let's definitely set up a live stream in the future, Chase. Get the 2 of us on here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It has been a lot of fun. Yeah. Thank you for showing up. Give a few more minutes if anybody has anything else, and then I will see if I missed any important questions. See, a lot of these people have asked, has being a YouTuber changed me in any way? I don't. It may have. I mean, it's hard not to allow your environment change you in some way. Not drastically, I feel. If anything, my taste in music may have changed a little bit. Politically, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty much where I'm at with that. Good question. I don't think it's changed me to the point where it's like that type of deal, but it's hard not to be altered in some way based on your environment. So thanks, Chase. I really appreciate you showing up. That means a lot. It means a lot. Yeah, I'll hit you up. We'll get something going. Love you too, man. Have a good dop. Good dop. I was reading your thing and trying to say day. Have a good day. If I could grow my channel to 100K or more, would I do it? Absolutely. And and not for numbers sake. I don't want to grow just to say I have 100K viewers. I would want those 100K to be meaningful. You know what I mean? Who wanted something out of my videos, who wanted to watch my videos, and if they didn't, then I would want them to leave. You know, I don't want to waste anybody's time. So, but I mean, if the chance gets there, shoot, I peaked over 7,000 this morning before even coming on here, and when I put a thing out just a few days ago, I was just peaking at 5,000. So I'm amazed at how fast it's going. Stunned, really. So if I could get that, yes, I would. And I would like to think that I wouldn't change much because of it. But that's hard to say because I haven't, you know, you never know until you put into that situation. So if I got that big, would I go full time? It would depend on the monetary side. I could have 100K visitors and not make enough to go full time, if that makes sense. But yes, if I could replace my current income with income from this, I would do it. No more hour commute, no more dealing with external job responsibilities. It would be tough. It would be tough for me to do it because that's a big step. That's a big trust. It's like the trust fall. You know, when you fall back and you trust whoever's behind you to catch you, because that could go away. YouTube could change their policy tomorrow, and you lose all that income. So that would be a tough decision. But I would like to do it full time if it allowed me to, because then I could put more energy and focus into this and have it not be just kind of a side project. If you do all the ads the others do inside your videos, not a fan of that, but people will have to earn money, unfortunately. As a matter of fact, you know, I have stipulations. It would have to be something that I am behind. And as a matter of fact, since you brought it up, I have been contacted by 2 companies, one of which is for like office furniture, specifically like standing desks. However, I have custom built desks, 2 of them, my wife, myself, and a middle section for the Cricut machine. My monitor is mounted to the wall on a swivel arm, so I don't have the room for a standing desk. The other company is for jewelry. And I do wear, you know, I have some, I mean, obviously my wedding band, but I do wear a few bracelets. I have a ring. And so I am going to partner with them to see how it goes. I'm not saying that it's going to be a forever thing, because I also agree that sometimes it gets to be a little much when you're constantly bombarded with these paid promotions, especially Lingoda. I think I've had my fair share of Lingoda commercials. Not saying that people can't do it. Yes, they have to bring in an income some way. I'm trying to figure out a way to bring it in as smoothly as possible, so it's not just this abrupt, like, breaking news, jewelry, you know, to kind of weave it into the video so it's a little less in your face. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I never thought that it would happen, especially this quick, that people would be reaching out to me. But I won't be doing it all the time, because I do care for my viewers, and I want their experience to be as good as possible as well. So it's a fine balance between bringing in an income and pleasing your audience. What would you not advertise? Even if I would offer boatloads of money. Anything that went against my moral compass. I just won't do it. I stopped creating some woodworking items because I didn't believe in the message. I did not believe in the symbolism. I did not want to be a contributor to that. So, and I didn't want my name associated with it. So I refused to do anymore. And, you know, I left money on the table, and I have no problem with that. So anything that really went against my moral code, no, I don't care how much money you throw at me. I have standards. All right, I think we should be just about done. Yes, of course, Thomas, I will be. Yeah, like I said, if the quality suffers at all, then it's not worth it. It's not worth any of that. So I will definitely keep that in mind, and I don't want to alienate the people who are actually supporting my channel. You know what I mean? It's like biting the hand that feeds you, which is pretty much our entire political system. So we've come full circle now. And so with that, I think I'm going to have to let you all go. I really have to get going to go get this rental car picked up and get back home. So thank you guys so much. This will be out available. I hope, if everything works, if I didn't do anything stupid, and be on my channel. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. This was a lot of fun. You can expect to see me with this more often. Chase and I will definitely have to put our heads together, come up with something that's pretty cool for everybody. If anybody's into gaming, he does a lot of gaming. He has a Twitch. So I'm not, I don't do much of that at all, but we can definitely come up with something that we can collaborate on, or just have story time. That's always fun too. We can just have story time. So thank you all so much. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I will see you in the next video. So I hope everybody has a great day.